SQL, or Structured Query Language, is a query language that allows computer applications to retrieve, add, edit, and delete data from a database. Whenever your application interacts with a database, it does so by constructing an SQL query. You don't need to learn SQL to access data in your projects, because ASP.NET provides classes which generate SQL for you. Visual Studio is capable of working with any type of SQL-compliant database. Visual Studio works best with Microsoft's SQL Server product, but it is entirely possible to use other database types such as Access, Oracle, and MySQL. The free Express version of SQL Server was automatically installed on your machine when you installed Visual Studio. To begin this lesson, open the My Project sample file from your Sample Files folder. And you're going to add a new database to the project. Right-click on My Project in the Solution Explorer and click Add, New Item. Now click Data on the left, select SQL Server Database, and set the name to mydatabase.mdf. Then click Add. You are prompted to place the new database in the app_data folder rather than the main folder. Click Yes, and you have just added a new database to your project. Of course, it will be completely empty. The app_data folder is a special folder which ASP.NET assumes will contain any databases used by a website. If you right-click on the first item displayed in the Solution Explorer and then click Add ASP.NET folder, you can see that there are a number of other special ASP.NET folders, which are expected to contain certain things. For the moment, the app_data folder is the only one of these that is important. In a typical work environment, database design is done by a specialized team member called a DBA or Database Administrator. Most ASP.NET programmers do not have advanced database design skills, but simply have the skills that are needed to access data from a database designed by a DBA. If you are interested in database design, there are many other courses on this subject. You don't need any database design skills to complete this course, as sample databases are provided to work with. To continue this lesson, open the Spark project from your Sample Files folder. The Spark project already has its own database called spark.mdf. You're going to open the spark.mdf database and examine its contents. Expand the app_data folder in the Solution Explorer and double-click spark.mdf. After a short delay, you are transferred to the Database Explorer window. The Database Explorer appears in the same area as the Solution Explorer. You can switch back to the Solution Explorer by clicking on the Solution Explorer tab at the bottom of the window. Now expand the Tables folder in the Database Explorer. You can see that the Spark database contains the customer and invoice tables. Tables are the containers that databases store their data inside. Database tables are similar to spreadsheets, as they contain tables of information laid out into rows and columns. View the contents of the Customer table by right-clicking on Customer and clicking Show Table Data. After a few seconds, the contents of the table appear in the central pane of Visual Studio. Note that you can now edit the data in the table by simply changing the values in the cells. You probably won't always have your database available as part of your project. Most companies have a separate database server. You can connect to another server by right-clicking on Data Connections in the Database Explorer and then clicking Add Connection from the shortcut menu. Unfortunately, it's not possible to demonstrate connecting to a remote server, as you probably don't have a remote server to connect to. The person who owns the server should be able to give you the correct settings that you will need to connect to it. Database connection settings are stored in the web.config file. All of the techniques that you will learn in this course will work in an identical way with a remote database. Close Visual Studio now, and you've now completed Lesson 10.1. Work with SQL databases in Visual Studio.